Talking Joe podcast, minds in motion. Talk about relationships, help your emotions. Behavior management when your kids start to losing it. Talk about life and all the confusion. Minds in motion. Minds in motion. Talk about relationships. I'm talking Joe podcast, minds in motion. Talk about relationships, help your emotions. Behavior management when your kids start to losing it. Talk about life and all the confusion. Minds in motion. Minds in motion. Talk about relationships. Emotion. Minds in motion. Talk about relationships.
Good evening, and welcome to Minds in Motion with me, your host, Jewel. I don't know why it seems like so long since I've been on here, but thank you for tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in. As usual, every week with me. Tonight, I have I guess it's a tribute or a special episode. I'm going to be focusing on good fathers. It's a tribute to Father's Day. So if you want to chime in, if you have something to add, if you want to dispute what I'm saying, chime in and let me know your opinion. So if you're tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitch, I thank you again. And also those of you who are listening in on GTM Radio, thank you for listening in, as well as SBE Radio. Thank you so much. And TVN Caribbean Radio. So as I said, the topic tonight is going to be all about good fathers. So it's a tribute to fathers. But before I get into that, I just want to talk about some things. Just like I guess you call it housekeeping. So the first thing I want to talk about is Risden Wellness. So just a reminder to the viewers who are all tuning in, Risden Wellness is the, I guess you could say the umbrella. It's the big umbrella, and Minds in Motion trickles down after that. Minds in Motion came about because of Risden Wellness. Risden Wellness is my business that I do. It's a counseling business. It's a family business as well, whereby I do counseling for families. I do respite work. So if you're looking to get some support, or for yourself, or for someone that you know that has a child that is special needs on the spectrum, or they might need some tutoring because they have a learning disability, that is me. Call me and I will get you on track with that service. So I do offer a 20-minute free consultation. So if you call me, we could talk for 20 minutes. So I'd advise you to write down your questions, have everything in mind as to what you'd like to talk to me about. I'm giving that for free. I'm going to give my personal phone number tonight. The text number that I had, it's no longer existing. So I have to find a new one. It was one of those free apps. So my number is 416-697-5747. So for now, you can use that and call me. The reason why I'm using that is because I know I'm going to have that number forever. And if someone is in need, I want them to be able to contact me and not to be afraid of connecting with me. If you don't want to talk on the phone, please do send me an email as well to Risden Wellness. That's RISDEN WELL Wellness, WELLNESS @gmail.com. So wristandwellness@gmail.com. And that is just to connect with me, to give you an opportunity to ask me questions that you have. I know we're coming down to the end of the school year for many students. Some students are already out. If they're in private schools, if they're around the Caribbean, I think they're ending soon as well. But it's coming down to that time of year where a lot of students are feeling anxiety. They don't want to be in school, or they don't want to leave school. They know that their friends are either moving, going away, or they won't see their friends for a while. The teachers that they had, the youth workers that they had, as myself, are no longer going to be there for 2 months. 2 months is a long time. So, this is not the last episode. Next week will be my last episode. But on that episode, I want to talk a little bit more about some wellness things that you can do over the summer months with your kids. All right, so to get into the topic tonight, um, wait, before I get into that, I wanted to just highlight Robert Rawson. He was on a few weeks back. He's an RMT, so registered massage therapist. So he is an independent massage therapist. He is working through a clinic, a physiotherapist clinic, but he is his own entity. So he has his own business. He's just a partner with this organization, and it's called Peak Rehabilitation, and it's in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. So if you are close to the Brampton area, it's at 2 Kennedy Road, and you can contact him at Robert RMT on Instagram. You could just check out Peak Rehab as well, and you could find him there. So he's going to be starting this week Friday. I'm just going to read out the days that he's available. He sent me his flyer today. So Mondays, he's available from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Wednesdays from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. And Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay. So here it says he's a registered massage therapist focusing on personalized care, support for your recovery, reduce pain, and improve your overall well-being. Or your well-being. Okay. Yeah, so that's Robert Rawson. Hit him up. I'm going to be hitting him up probably on a Wednesday. All right. I saw something come across the page. I don't know if it was a comment. Okay, yes, it was a comment through one of my, I guess I can call him my colleague from Dissect. Thank you for tuning in, Navi. So the topic tonight is good fathers. And there are good fathers out there. So I'm just going to just talk about what I think a good father is. And then people could chime in and tell me what their thoughts are about good fathers and what they think about good fathers. Um, from my experience, from what I know, a good father is someone a man who is present in their children's lives, who is invested in their children's lives, and also someone who treats the mother of their children very, very well, right? Whether they're together or not, that they respect the woman, and they treat the women kindly, especially if they have girl children as well. So you want to teach your girl children how a man should treat them, and um, how to receive that, right? I think what's important in being a good father, although I'm not a father, um, what's important in being a good father, as I said, is being present. Okay, it's not just giving money, and it's not just giving phone calls or having phone calls. I think it's also spending time. Um, I guess I'm more thinking of what my love language is, right? So I like to spend time. Um, Gifts are nice. Gifts are always nice. It's always nice to remember your kids' birthdays. Um, so I'm trying my best tonight to focus on the positives. and not so much the negatives. Um, but yeah, I can say that I know a few good fathers. Um, my father was a good father earlier in life, I'd say, where he was present and doing things for and with the family. Um, but you have to be consistent at it. As a good father, I think consistency is key, and just continuing to be that good father, whether the child is 2 years old or 21 years old or even 42 years old, right? I think it's important to be consistent at that, right? And not expecting the child to be the parent or be, I guess, the word that I use nowadays is parentified, where the child has to be responsible for um, checking in on the parent unless they have a medical issue, right? It shouldn't be that the child is like the one who is um, initiating the phone calls, right? I think the parents should do that as well. The father should do that to make sure that the kids are good, right? So let me talk about some good fathers that I know. So these are some good fathers. I'm not naming names. They know who they are. Good fathers that I see are fathers that spend time with their kids, whether they're male or female. They spend time with their kids. They they go on outings with their kids, right? So whether they do a one-on-one or a group outing, they're taking their kids out and spending time with them, getting to know their kids, having their kids get to know who they are, having conversations, and being vulnerable with their kids. I think that's key. Having vulnerability with your kids, especially as a black man, right? Sometimes um, growing up, and what society also says is that men shouldn't show emotion, right? They shouldn't be emotionally regulated, you know, and have emotional intelligence. And that is kind of like falling by the wayside nowadays because of the new terminology. It's not new, but people are using it a lot. Emotional intelligence, right? Sorry. So emotional intelligence. I have the air conditioning way up in here because I don't want to feel hot and I don't want to feel cold, but it is what it is. Um, So being in touch with your feelings and allowing your kids to see your vulnerable side, I think is important as a father, to let your kids know that you are not made out of steel, you're not made out of rock, that you're human too and you have emotions, that you have feelings as well. So like um oh, I'm gonna use like something simple. For example, a movie. If there's a movie and there's a sad part of a movie, it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry and show emotion, right? Even though you know it's a movie, it's okay. But also, like, if you genuinely feel sad. So maybe I'll use the example of maybe high school is ending for a lot of parents, for a lot of kids right now. And parents are seeing their kids off to college or university. And you're not going to see, sometimes you won't see your kid for months, right? And sometimes you're not going to hear from them every day. So having that emotion and feeling sad and knowing that you're not going to see your kid for a while or your child for a while, it's okay to cry. It's okay to give your child a hug, whether they're male or female. Show that emotional side of you and be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. Let them know that you hurt. Let them know that you're sad. Right? I think that has something to do with being a good father, right? Teaching your children that when it's a sad time, you cry. When it's um, a joyful time, you are joyful, right? You show these emotions. I'm just looking up some notes that I took earlier about emotional intelligence. So, for those of you who are tuning in, don't feel afraid or ashamed to chime in on the conversation. Um, I was just highlighting some points there, and I was making some points about some men that I know that are really really good fathers, um, and they happen to be all black fathers. who are, some of them are single fathers where they're taking care of their children and they're doing a really good job at it. They've taken over the role of being the caregiver for their children. Um, and sometimes they have to raise female children, a female child. They have to show that side of them, that soft side of them, right? Let me go to here. It says, yeah. So as I was saying, so validating your children's feelings, validating your own feelings, right? You know, are you sad? Are you mad? Are you angry? And not just saying to the kid, if it's a boy, toughen up. You know, boys aren't supposed to be like this. You don't want to tell your boy that. You want to let them know life can be tough, but you're feeling an emotion. You're feeling sad, and it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel this way, right? And because growing up is difficult. Growing up and nowadays, I think, is even harder than when we were kids. When I say we, people who are watching me right now, it's times have changed, and kids are really going through emotional times, emotional what do you call it? Not regulation, but emotional roller coasters. They're going up and down with different emotions that they're feeling, and they sometimes, if they don't have an outlet and they don't have the ability to share those emotions, it can go the wrong way. It can really go the wrong way. They can express their emotions, um, instead of being able to express themselves. They can get really, really angry, and they can take it out on the wrong person, or they might take it out on you. Right? We don't want that. We don't want them to be an emotional wreck. Right? Um, So I was saying something, I was talking about being present and engaging with your child as a good father. That's most important. Listening to them, right? When they come home from school, you want to ask. I remember when I was younger, there was a time when we had to sit at the dinner table, and the entire family sat at the dinner table, and it was, the TV was off. We didn't have video games then, but the TV was off. There was no computer, there was no cell phones, and we were like forced to talk to each other and just share about our day. How was your day? Did you have a good day? You know, and I think that was important. That was important. And I do remember my dad being part of those conversations. Um, I remember, I'm speaking from my point of view as well and my experience. I remember my dad giving me homework, and him saying, "Oh, you don't have homework? Okay, well, I'll give you some homework." And at home, I had a homework book. And as a child, I thought that was a punishment. I thought it was something bad that he was asking me to do. But as I grew up, I realized, he was teaching me resilience. He was teaching me study habits. He was teaching me um, to be persistent and to pursue being better than I am, right? To focus on not just playing, right? And maybe that's why I don't like to watch TV. To be honest, I'm not a TV monster or TV head. Like some people, they can't wait to go home and watch this Netflix series or that thing on TV, and I'm not that person. A lot of people ask me, "Why don't you watch TV?" or "What's your favorite thing on TV?" I couldn't tell you, because I'm not into TV shows. And that might have come from the discipline or the manner in which I was raised. Like I wasn't. Um, it was do your homework first, and then you can watch TV, right? But my dad took that time with me to study with me, and that taught me good study habits from a really young age. Okay. So tonight, if you're just joining us, the episode tonight is focusing on good fathers and good things. I know too many times we hear about men what they're not doing, or fathers what they're not doing. Um, I want to focus tonight on the good things that fathers are doing. Right? I have a few brothers that are doing really, really good things with their kids. They're really good fathers. They spend time with their kids. They take their kids out. They take them on vacation. They take them swimming. They're spending time with those kids. Are they perfect fathers? No, they're not. But they're present fathers, and they're doing the best that they can do with what they know, right? Something that people have to remember, like when you get into a relationship, so women, when we get into a relationship with men, we have to look at how they treat their mother, and if their father is in their life, how their father is treated by them, and how they are treated by their father as well, right? Is the love reciprocated? Is their father um, spending time with them, right? They are only taught what they know, and they can only teach what they know to an extent. But at the same time, um, they have to have the willpower to be able to say, I'm not going to be that type of father. I'm going to be this type of father, right? A good father. Um, so kudos, hats off to my brothers, and hats off to my other brothers from another mother that are doing good jobs with their kids, right? Um, we can't always say, I was raised like this, and um, my dad wasn't around for me, so this is why I'm like this. No, we I don't think there's room for that anymore. But I understand when people unintentionally, not intentionally, do things to hurt others. Um, it's because they were not taught how to do anything better, to do it differently, if that makes any sense, right? Thank you for the hearts, and thank you for the checks or the thumbs up. I see those in the comments, and that means you agree with me, and I appreciate that. Don't be afraid to send a comment as well if you are brave enough to do so tonight on this episode. Um, so there's some things that I kind of want to. I feel sometimes when I talk about my male friends who are good fathers, I want to protect them. I want people to know that there are good men out there. There are good black fathers out there that are doing the right thing. Um, and when I see women taking advantage of them, because I only have brothers, right? When I see women taking advantage of these men that are doing good things, I get really upset. I become almost like a lioness for these men that are out there breaking their backs, going to work, doing the right thing, and that women are not treating them well. I, that I don't accept. I'm not good with that. It doesn't jive well with me. So let's praise them. Let's give them the accolades that they deserve for those who are doing well. Let's say thank you. Let's say thank you. Let's recognize them and celebrate them. Let's give them their flowers, right? Um, and say it out loud, because when women are ready to, um, when women are ready to dog men or put them down, they're out there telling their friends the bad things that men are doing. But sometimes they're not out there telling the good things that men are doing, right? So we need the women also to say the good things that are happening, right? Um, and we need not to, like I said, not to take advantage of the situation. So um, there's this one father that I know a long time ago. I was having a conversation with him. He was the one raising his child, and the mother was not doing anything. Anything. When I say anything, nothing at all. There was even a time when this this mother asked the father when was it when her child's birthday is, or how old the child is. And I was like, you're kidding me, right? This mother doesn't know how old her own child is. But that's how it is, because sometimes it's the opposite way. If it's not the father, it's the mother. And when the mother doesn't know and the mother's not invested, not involved, it's just like how we see those men sometimes, right? We dog them. Those women out there, there's women out there that are doing the same thing. They're not being good mothers. Okay. So I realized that he was taking care of the child, and I don't know how this conversation came up, but I was like, do you get child tax credit to support the child? And this is in Canada. I don't know how it works in other countries, but in Canada, um, once you are um, a parent who is taking care of a child, you get something called child tax credits. Okay, so which is money um, to take care of kids from the government, and it's monthly. It's not yearly; it's monthly. You get a monthly check to take care of your kid or your child or your children. So when I asked if he's getting this, he said no. It goes to the mom, and I was like, but the mom's not taking care of the child. So why would you be allowing this to happen? I said, you need to change that. You need to change that. Contact whoever you need to contact, right? And make sure that that check's coming to you, and that good father, being the good father that he is, was like, no, it's okay. Just let her know. No, it's not okay. We don't need any women taking advantage of the good men that are out there, right? We want to encourage them. We want to support them. So I don't know whatever happened to that situation. I didn't invest myself in it too much because I still have to know my place. It's not my business. So I just gave my opinion and that was it, right? Um, but yeah. So tonight I actually wanted to have a guest on the show tonight, and that didn't happen. So I was trying to I did reach out to um, an organization called the Black Fathers Alliance, and I believe they're somewhere up in Barrie or Simcoe County. And one of the organizers from the alliance did get back to me, but they didn't confirm a date. So that was supposed to happen tonight. So I was actually supposed to have someone on from the Black Fathers Alliance on, and it would have been nice to have him on. From what I can see, um, they're on Instagram. If you want to go on and support them, I'm gonna go on their Instagram right now. From what I can see, they have events that happen um, weekly and also like monthly, and they also have different things going on. Last weekend would have been a great weekend to do something with them. They had something called Men's Hike, Black Men's Health Event. Um, so it says, if elevate your wellness, find your peak. So they went to Blue Mountain and they did a scenic trail. And there was so fitness, brotherhood, connection, and health is what it was about. And it was sad that I couldn't tell you I should have told you before, but that's what was happening last weekend. So that passed last Sunday. But they're having another event. They're having a Father's Day event. And there's lots of things happening for Father's Day. But this one is by them, it's run by them. And it's on Sunday. It's from 10 to 4. And it's looks like it's in Barrie at Lampman Lane soccer field. So there's going to be face painting for kids. So bring your kids out. If you're spending time with your kids that day, this is something you can do. Go up to an hour drive, 2 hour drive from Toronto. Um, go up to Barrie and have a nice picnic with your kids. That'll be something nice to do with your kids. They're going to be doing face painting, flying kites. There's a splash pad. They're going to have a lot of outdoor games and more. And then they said food is available for purchase. I don't know what kind of food. But they have a big sponsor. Ontario Trillium Foundation is sponsoring this. So if you want to go, check them out. The Black Fathers Alliance. And then through that, there's a few other organizations. I think they may be a combination of African and Caribbean, but mainly African families, um, Black African families. And there's another organization called Simcoe Black Coalition, and they do things for Black fathers as well and African people. When I say African people, I mean African diasporic and African from the continent Africa. Like it seems to me like Nigerian focus. But anyways, let's get back to the topic at hand. Um, so if you want to go to that, go to that. Father's Day is coming up this Sunday, so don't forget this Sunday. If you're watching and you're not a father, or if you are watching and you are a father, I hope you have a wonderful Father's Day. But also, take your kids out. If you're the one who's going to be with the kids this weekend, do something with them. There's a lot happening. Maybe leaving the city would be great because a lot's happening with the soccer right now, which is another thing that you could do. You can take your kids down to one of the fan fests if you can get tickets for that, or just I think Nathan Phillips Square. There's something happening at Nathan Phillips Square where they're doing the fan fest there, but also close to where I live, by Square One at Celebration Square. They're showing the games over there. So if your kids are into soccer, if you're into soccer or football, as a lot of us call it, take your kids over there, right? Have a picnic. Do something different. Don't just do the regular thing that you do with your kids, right? Whatever that is, the regular thing. Um, if you're if you're watching me live now, um, send a comment. I just want to know where you're watching me from. Just send a comment in the chat. Um, I think I'm seeing some comments coming in from the YouTube. This might be Facebook. Let me see. Uh, Anne Marie, thank you so much, Anne Marie and Sam. Thank you so much for your thumbs up and likes. Okay, so you're too shy to send. All right, that's okay. So I want to talk more about the Black fathers or the good fathers. More on the good fathers. As I said, I have notes. So if you're just coming in, we're talking about good fathers, and I can think of the time when my father was a really good father to me. There was a time when he was a good father to me, but then time went by and he wasn't such a good father anymore, and that's my personal opinion. Um, so sometimes they start off good and they end up not so good. And I said I was gonna try not to bash, but I'm not bashing. I'm just saying I want you as a father, if you're a good father, to maintain that good father, being a good father. Don't don't change. Don't allow the mother um, to change you if you're no longer with the mother. Don't allow that relationship that you have with the mother ruin the relationship you have with the kids. Always be there for them, right? Always be there for them, no matter what. Between whatever happened between you and the mother is between you and the mother, right? That has nothing to do with your kids. Um, just maintain being a good father. Where are my notes? Okay, so something I think also is important as a father, being a good father, is protecting and advocating for your kids, protecting your kids from things they might experience in the world, but also advocating for those kids, using resilience and wisdom, and not teaching them to be aggressive or um, harsh or mean to people, right? Or saying mean things to people. I know sometimes you want to protect your kids and you want to say, if somebody hits you, you hit them back, or somebody says something to you, you say the thing right back. Not always. It doesn't always work that way, right? Because especially as black children or black boys, if you're raising a black boy, they tend to have the worst reputation when it comes to being aggressive or being assertive, right? Assertiveness can sometimes be misunderstood for aggression. So we want to be careful how we tell our boys to defend themselves with words or to defend themselves, period. Right? We want them to use wisdom. We want them to be able to um, sometimes talk themselves out of situations. I know it's not always hard, um, but we need to also build up their confidence as black. If you're raising a black boy, okay, fathers, don't just teach them to be aggressive and hard and be machismo and being macho is good, but we don't want to always teach them that that's the way to go, right? There's a time and place for everything, I think, is what I'm trying to say, right? And we also need to teach our boys, as a good father, I think teaching your boys or your kids, your children in general, whether they're male or female, about navigating systemic barriers, right? So, racism, as I mentioned just a minute ago, navigating barriers. And racism is one, it's a huge thing, right? Sometimes we are seen as um, just, sometimes if we defend ourselves, we are looked at as the aggressor. So just be mindful of that and use intelligence, emotional intelligence to guide your kids through different situations, right? And sometimes you're hurting as a man and you want to teach your child that this is not acceptable. And instead of maintaining your cool and your calm, you become aggressive and um, you don't want your kids to see that side of you as well because it can be seen as a weakness, as right. That can be seen as a weakness as well, right? So you don't want to show that side of you. You want to maintain a level head and less aggressive and less aggression, right? To be able to get your words out, you want to practice, right? Teach your kids how to speak up for themselves without using um, any kind of aggression, all right? I think as a good father as well, teaching your child about their history, teaching the child about who they are and their identity is important, right? Um, if like for me, I'm a first generation Canadian. Teaching your kids about where they came from, right, is important. Reminding them their cultural identity. So where maybe where you're from, where their mom is from, um, but also letting them know if they're first generation Canadian, they are Canadian, and they need to be proud to be Canadian, and don't let anyone ever tell them that they're not Canadian, right? So also, so passing down cultural stories and traditions, values, pride that they have. Um, so, for example, with me, my traditions would be because my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago. My mom's from Grenada, but let's focus on dad because we're focusing on dads. Let them know about your culture. So let them know about the food, right? That your kids know about the traditions, like carnival. Where did carnival come from? How did it derive? Right? Let them know. Have some national pride, your national pride as well, so they can say, "Oh, that's my culture. I understand it. I know it." Right? So that's something a good dad would do as well. Right? Um, a good dad, whether they're in a two-parent partnership or household, is co-parenting and arrangements, making arrangements with the parent, the other parent, on making sure that the kids are safe and that they have everything that they need, right? Being respectful, as I was saying at the top of the show, being respectful to the mother of your children is important to show etiquette and show respect to the woman teaches your son and teaches your daughter, right? So one, it'll teach your son how to treat a woman. Okay, so the way that you treat the mother of your child or children is going to teach your son how to how to treat women, and as well, in turn, your daughter is going to know how a man should treat her, right? So if she sees that her father is not treating the mother right, she's going to believe, she's going to interpret this is how it's supposed to be. Okay, and then that's when um, sometimes the child might grow up to become, you know, understanding that this is, as a grown woman, that a man is supposed to treat them negatively. So you, as a good father, have to make sure that you treat the woman of the woman who has your children, whether it's your ex-wife or your wife or your children's mother, that you treat them kindly, right? So model that healthy, respectful relationship as well. Okay, so you want that to be instilled in your children because you want your children to emulate what you're doing and just be a good father that way, right? Um, so I was saying earlier that sometimes men are not taught how to be fathers. They're not always taught how to be fathers. And there's no handbook. Well, there are handbooks. There are handbooks to say this is how fatherhood should be. But it really depends on your experience and your lived experiences as well, right? And how you were taught. And sometimes we have to break the cycle. We have to break the cycle. If there's generations of broken homes or one parent homes, we need to break the cycle if we want to have that two parent home. We have to figure out how it's going to work. How do we co parent or how do we coincide in the household without losing our cool and without, um, well, sometimes it's the woman that's losing their cool and the man has to figure out how do I cope with this? How do I deal with this? And it doesn't mean that you have to stay there forever. It doesn't mean you have to stay in the relationship forever. A good father knows when to stay and a good father knows when to leave, right? If things are not going well, sometimes you have to exit the relationship, but it doesn't mean that you exit the relationship with your kids. That's my point today. It doesn't mean that you exit the relationship with your kids. Okay? So good fathers there for their kids. And it doesn't just mean that you're gonna just buy gifts for your kids or whatever they want, you just give to them. No. That's spoiling the child. That's spoiling the child. Okay? Um, if you love your kids, they will teach you how to be a really good father. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. Your kids always, you're never too old to learn, right? So never ever think that your kids can't or won't teach you things. They will teach you things. I work in the school system, and kids teach me things every day. Every day. They teach you how they want to be loved. They teach you how they want to be spoken to. They teach you how they want to be cared for, right? Sometimes they might say, leave me alone. I'm not ready to talk, or I don't want to talk. And then you say, okay, this child needs some space. They need space. And then when they're ready, they come and talk, right? So, yes, you're absolutely right. Your children will teach you how to treat them, okay? But we also have to remember um, that we're the adults in their lives and that we have to make decisions for them. Um, So sometimes kids think they know everything and they think they know how they want to be treated, but they may not know, right? But it's true. You do learn a lot from your kids. Um, we don't want to spoil our children. We don't want to give them everything and don't teach them that they had to work for those things. Right? I think teaching good ethics is also part of a good dad. Um, I remember growing up having a conversation about education with my parents, and I probably was no more than 12 years old, and I had this conversation with both parents, and they were together at the time, and it was about going on to post secondary education, so after high school. I don't even think I was in high school at that time, but it was. This is my mom's side. No, my dad's side was this. I'll tell you my dad's side first. So my dad's side was this. He said, "I don't care if you go to university. I don't care if you go to college. I don't even care if you go to high school. As long as you make me proud, I don't care. You stay out of trouble and you make me proud. I don't care if you go to high school. I don't care if you go to university. I don't care if you go to college." And that, where that was coming from, was that I know now, I know better now, but at the time I didn't understand it. My dad had to leave school early at a young age to help build his family home. And at the age of 13, 14, he had to drop out of school. And that meant that he was in high school at the time, because you start high school pretty young, um, in Trinidad, and he had to drop out of school. Um, but he already had like basic education, right? And then my mom, here comes my mom jumping in saying, nope, no, no, no. It does matter whether you go to college or not. You are going to college and university. So guess what? That got drilled into my head by my mother. Education is important. Education is key. Education is important. Education is key. And that got drilled into my head. But I also remember what my dad said to me, because that to me, it meant that he wasn't putting pressure on me. He was just saying, you know what? I want the best for you, even if you don't go to college, even if you don't go to university. I just want you to do well in life. It doesn't matter that you have to go. It doesn't mean that you have to go to university. It doesn't mean that you have to go to college. Just do well and make me proud. And that to me was also, it meant a lot. And not the way that I chose to go, but also I also remembered, do well, just make me proud. And that's something that stuck with me as well through the years. Okay. And so, um, if you want to instill values in your children, dads, think about not what you would want for yourself. Think about what you would want for your kids. And most times, dads would want better for their kids. They don't want their kids to just have what they have. They want their child to have more or be better than they are and ever could be. Right? So instill those values. I think a good dad instills really good values in their kids. And yeah, no pressure. But at the same time, you need to do well. You need to do better than me. It's not about mediocre. Okay? It's not about mediocre. And it doesn't mean at the same time everybody is going to go to college or university. It just means pick the path in life that is going to realistically give you a good income, and you're going to be feeling good about it, and maybe not so good about it, depends on the path, but that they do something that's constructive with their self and with their time. I think a good father would do that, right? That's just my opinion. So I see you all are watching, and I appreciate it. And I thank you for the comments as well. If anybody else wants to chime in before we end the show, so we're going to end in maybe about 5 minutes because right after this is Anthony Drago's show. But don't be afraid to chime in the conversation tonight. It's about good fathers. We don't talk much. We don't talk enough about good fathers. A lot of times we talk negatively about them, and that's why I'm taking this time to spend an hour, 45 minutes to talk positively about fathers. I see you out there. I know what you're doing. And I am giving you accolades and I'm saying thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for the job that you do as a dad. It's not easy, especially as a black father, as a black man, to be raising kids. And especially if you're a single dad, especially if you're a single dad. And even more, especially if you are in a situation where you're not appreciated by the children's mom, right? And that everything you do seems like it's not enough. I want to say to you that it's enough. You are enough, and you're doing the best that you can do with what you have, right? Um, if the case is that you're not doing enough because you really don't want to do enough, then then I can say something negative about you. But I know there's a lot of good dads out there, so I'm giving those good dads the props today, and I'm saying thank you. Um, it makes me smile when I see my brothers doing well with their kids and having a good time with their kids, and seeing their kids' smiles and knowing that they're doing well, they're growing up very well, and it's all about breaking the cycle, right? Breaking the cycle and not treating your kids the way that your dad treated you if you had a negative or bad experience with your dad, right? You can break the cycle, you can change things, and you just have to say, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like my dad. I want to be this kind of dad. I want to be a dad that's present. I want to be a dad that talks to my kids. I want to be a dad that spends time with my kids. Not be present doesn't mean that you're present means that you're really spending time with your kids. It means that you're talking to them, you're getting to know them, you're getting they're getting to know you. You're having dialogue about things. It's not just, oh, I have the kids for the weekend, or I'm taking my kids out for dinner, and they sit there and then you're on your phone, your device. It's not about that. I see that a lot, and I think there should be a time when you are with the family, and there's a time when there's no devices at all. You're not allowed to have the devices, even if it's for an hour that you spend an hour with your kids, getting to know them, talking to them, interacting with them, right? Um, yeah. I can't believe an hour is almost done already. I've talked about this for almost an hour. Um, I just want to remind you about Risden Wellness. I launched my business a few weeks ago. If you do feel like you need counseling or you know someone that needs counseling, reach out to me. You can catch me on Minds in Motion Wellness on Instagram. I have an account there. Also, risdenwellness@gmail.com. That's my email. Send me an email if you want me to answer a question or you know someone that needs support. Um, just hit me up. I'm also offering 20 minutes of free consultation to talk to you about whatever it is that you want to talk about. So I do respite care. So um, if you need a break from your kids and your kids are really, really getting on your nerves, especially if they have a disability or if they have a behavioral concern, I can support you there. I can come in to your home and do some respite care, some respite support. Reach out to me. I also do one on one counseling. So I talk to mainly teenagers and young people, but I do talk to adults as well about things that they're going through. Sometimes we just need someone to talk to. Okay. I do counseling. And if your child has a learning disability and maybe you want some tutoring, or maybe you need some support with that child because the child has a low self esteem, right? There's social emotional issues, or maybe they're being teased at school, I can help with that as well, right? I can give some strategies of how to work with your kids that have a disability as well, right? So remember, next week is the last week for Minds in Motion, and I have a guest on. She is a homeopathic doctor, and she's going to be talking about perimenopause. So for the men that are listening, those dads that are listening, um, tune in, tune in as well, because we are all aging, and you want to know about your woman's body and how your woman is going through changes and what you can do to support her, what things are out there, natural medicines that are out there, or natural remedies that she can take. Tune in next week for that. All right, I want to say thank you, everyone who's listening in on the airwaves, and everyone who is tuning in on, Minds in Motion. Tune in for the next show. Stay on, don't jump off, because right after my show is Anthony Drago's show, and his show is called This Week in Interview. All right, so that's at 8 o'clock right after this show. I'm going to join his show, just to hop in there and say hello, um, and let them know what we've been doing on Minds in Motion. Have a good evening. Thank you. Tune in next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to put a flyer out there. Follow me on my Instagram, Minds in Motion Wellness. Take care. Have a good evening.
I'm talking Joe podcast, Minds in Motion. Talk about relationships, help your emotions, behavior management when your kids start to losing it. Talk about life and all the confusion. Minds in Motion. Minds in Motion. Talk about relationships. I'm talking Joe podcast, Minds in Motion. Talk about relationships, help your emotions, behavior management when your kids start to losing it. Talk about life and all the